What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. We have another very interesting day on our hands. I want to break it down on what is really moving it and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is down 4.61%. 1441 the low, so new 52 weekend all-time low being hit, and then 1491 the high. And so if you think about it, for those of you that have been in Lucid for a while, this is $1.46. This is crazy stuff. Today we are seeing a lot of volume, somewhat. So 6.9 million shares being traded, 9.4 is the average. No different than yesterday. The majority of the volume is linked to algorithmic trading. So you can kind of see as well on the secondary market, big money is not buying the dip. So two transactions occurring, one for 2.13 million, other one for 154,000. So like I said, big money's not really doing too much today. As far as buying, you see a lot of people posting online about the latest 13 Fs. So latest ones that did come out, you see a lot of green. So a lot of institutions did get in Q3. So all these 13 Fs, even though they're submitting it in November and whatever else, that's all transactions from Q3. So just be aware of that. And so you do see some pretty good ones. Oddly enough, it does show the PIF having 100 or making a brand new position since it's green for 177 million. So keep that in mind, the fact that this is now including the reverse stock split. So I see Reuters and a couple other articles coming out saying that the PIF cut their position. That's not true. It's just people are too dumb to realize that a reverse stock split did occur. But speaking of that, I do believe that, for instance, even Wolverine did have some shares of Lucid behind the scenes prior to Q3. So I do believe that it's actually Fintel that's coding all this as incorrect, as green, meaning brand new shares. So I feel like the reverse stock split did really mess something up behind the scenes. But again, just wanted to bring it up, the fact that the PIF, it does show 177 million. So that's post reverse stock split. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Today, there really hasn't been that much macro data. So the same level of fear that was kind of started yesterday, it's rolling over to today. So potentially just the repercussions of the shutdown, as well as the chances of a rate cut. And this is something that I feel like a lot of people do really need to take into consideration. I see a lot of people, again, usually pumpers, just saying, hey, buy the dip, you need to do this. Whereas in the broader market, generally, the market always looks for the next big catalyst, and rate cuts was going to be that next big catalyst. And with us not getting any data, most likely, we kind of have to look forward to January the 28th for a potential cut. And as far as I'm aware, unless Trump actually gets some good traction with that whole 2000 stimulus, that might be like a temporary bump up. But as far as right now, the market's kind of really wanting rate cuts. And so it did go down from about, I think it was 54 or 57 yesterday, to now a 45.9% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. So you guys do your own due diligence and all the other fun jazz, but I do feel that this time we might see some further consolidation, not just with Lucid, but across the board, only because of the lack of catalysts. Aside from that, though, there really hasn't been all that much in news associated to Lucid, so no news, no press releases. There was one interesting thing that did come out, and that was posted on The View. And so ultimately, it looks like Whoopi Goldberg did give a gravity away. And I think this is good. I love these random types of things that it's not planned or anything. One thing that I will be really looking at, though, is Lucid's upcoming earnings. And I feel like the reason why I always instantly go to think negative is because I've dealt with a lot of companies similar to Lucid, one of which is Faraday Future, FFAI, they switched their ticker, but FFAI, they did these types of kind of things where they advertise saying, hey, this person's giving away this vehicle, this person's getting this vehicle. Turns out, based on their financials, they were all just giving away vehicles at the expense of the company. So as much as I love this randomness of Whoopi and The View, I do feel that I'm somewhat skeptical, only because I wanted to kind of ensure that this wasn't sponsored, nor was it a free gravity at Lucid's expense, because I feel like that's something that Lucid doesn't and can't really afford to do. So I think generally this is a kind of a good bad thing. Of course, for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm not here to hype anyone up. I'm not here to bring anyone down. I like to think relatively neutral. So that's something, again, just to keep in mind. At the time of doing this video, you have shorts return 1.06 million shares, 28.59% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 41.18 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average 18.14%. So that's gone down a little bit over the last couple trading days. Short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is sitting at 80.24, and then DTC is 4.14. So still relatively high. It does signal that shorts are fairly overextended. Aside from that, 737,000 in calls, 2.5 million in puts, and then 49% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above 15, and that's even going into next week, so not that much optimism, unfortunately. Bears are anticipating for it to be kind of breaking down sub 14, so we'll have to wait and see how that does play out. These are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. Actually, my apologies, that's for the 13th. And right over here. Okay, so these are some of the transactions for today. So not too much in reality. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, most of the volume is linked to algorithmic trading. And again, a lot of that is just feeding off of the negativity in the market. Right now with that 1446, it is kind of stuck between this S2 and this S3. So it's not really doing that well, especially comparing to a lot of other growth stocks. So 1532 is going to be that key pivot, wasn't touched today. And then 1234 is going to be the next strong support. So again, I do feel that if you believe in Lucid, take advantage by these dips, but don't kind of twist that, meaning it's a crazy buying opportunity, because the technicals do look very falling knife-ish type of scenario. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it does really play out and what level of support it does bounce off of. But I think generally the market is looking for like a good catalyst. And again, I think even leading into the whole shutdown ending, the market was very fearful over labor and consumers. And so without us getting any of that data for November, so it's all anything released in November is essentially from October. So we're not getting any October data. And so we're going to be blind for the most part. And actually, it looks like it just hit another new all-time low of 1440. So things aren't going great. Looking at the flow though, you see a lot of smaller transactions. So that is algorithmic trading and no new analyst ratings. So at the end of the day, like I said, I do feel that Lucid really needs to get their crap together if they're going to see any gains over the next little bit. Definitely be cautious out there. So hedge if necessary with covered calls or whatever else. But let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. Are you buying the dip? Are you selling? What are you doing with Lucid? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.